delicious hot beverage brimming with festive flavour. Which would be your favourite? This one for me. Orange and gingerbread chocolate with lashings of cream on top. Look. Okay, I'm going to have to pretend I've got a gingerbread latte now. that's how you pronounce that. Traditionally done under the iconic cupola or pagoda roofs that make distilleries so aesthetically pleasing. If a fuel source such as peat is used in the kilning process, a smoky, peaty flavour can be achieved. Glenlivet receives 530 tons of malted barley each week, which is put through a 3-roller Swiss-made Beulah mill to crush it into a coarse flour called grist. The grist is placed in a large steel mash tun with hot water to break down the starches to soluble sugars. The leftover barley from this process is referred to as draff, and this byproduct is usually fed to cattle. The cooled, drained, non-alcoholic liquid that remains is known as wort, and this is placed inside wooden wash packs, usually fast vats crafted from Douglas fir. Yeast is added so the fermentation process can begin. At this stage, the mixture is called wash. The yeast produces alcohol and carbon dioxide, with the resulting liquid tasting similar to a light beer. The wash is placed within copper stills for distillation, heated within 78.3 degrees Celsius, the boiling point of alcohol. And because alcohol evaporates before water does, the alcoholic vapours rise up the neck of the still into a condenser, where they cool back into liquid form. The condensed liquid produced from the first distillation is referred to as the low wines, referring to its low alcohol content at 20 to 30% ABV, which is nowhere near that of a single malt, so a second distillation is required. The results of the second distillation are split into 3 categories: the head, or foreshots, that contains unwanted compounds, the sought after heart, and the heavy, oilier tails, or feints. Gosh, it's so complicated. Both the head and the tails are returned to the still to go through the process once more. The middle section, the heart of the run, is the desired output, and the first solitary flame. The lime-washed walls are enlivened by leaping shadows, sparkling eyes watch the light as it grows, and a soft murmur of joy fills the air, mingling with the rustle of hymn sheets. And now the whole church is ablaze with the magic of shimmering candlelight. The first Christmas carol is announced, and the joyous season of Advent is underway. Although tiny, the metaphorical warmth of a flickering candle is uplifting, both emotionally and spiritually. For many different faith traditions, candles have long been symbolically significant. In Christianity, they've been used for centuries to represent Christ, the light of the world. Additionally, they are lit at Advent, often in in-house windows, as a representation of the Star of Bethlehem, guiding the Magi. Candles at Advent. The use of a candle to represent the guiding star is thought to be one of the earliest links of candles with Christmas and dates from the Middle Ages. This probably gave rise to the tradition of Advent candles in an Advent wreath, a symbolic part of Christian Advent services. The wreath, which is usually placed near the front of the congregation, holds 4 candles, surrounding a 5th central candle. On the first Sunday in Advent, 1 candle is lit. Each pillar of light depicts something different. Other varying sources give different interpretations. The 4 candles generally represent hope, peace, joy, and love. On the second Sunday, another candle. Joins the light of the first, and so on each successive Sunday. Finally, on Christmas Day, the 5th candle shines out its brightness with the other 4, and this is to represent the birth of Jesus, the light of the world. Sometimes these Advent candles are different colours. Occasionally, they may all be red, but sometimes 3 will be purple, with the candle for the 3rd week being pink. The central candle representing Christ is white. A single Advent candle, numbered at intervals along its length, from 1 to 24, is sometimes burnt at home, as an alternative form of Advent calendar, a glowing representation of the countdown to Christmas. Service for children. Another delightful Christmas service involving candles is Christingle. This originated in a Moravian church in Germany in 1747, during which the minister gave all the children attending a lit candle adorned with a red ribbon. The service ended with a prayer entreating Jesus to kindle a flame in these children's hearts, that theirs, like thine, become. atmosphere. The darkness of many of Dickens' novels is brightened by candlelight, though often viewed through the smoggy gloom of Victorian times. He wrote at a time when England was facing the far-reaching consequences of the Industrial Revolution, a sea change in society, which for many caused poverty and anxiety, along with associated prejudices. For many of his readers, candles would have been a familiar and reassuring bright spot. So, candles through history. Bit more coffee first. Modern candles are the successors of early rushlights, which consisted of the pith of rushes soaked in household grease. Improvement was made by the introduction of flax and cotton threads or wicks instead of rush. These were dipped in animal fat, such as tallow, derived from beef, which had been heated to a temperature slightly above its melting point, then cooled until the coating had solidified around the wick. Alternate dipping and cooling followed until the required thickness of the candle was achieved. The manufacture of tallow dips was a cottage industry for centuries. There are many mentions of candles from classical times. Cone-shaped candles were used in ancient Egypt and are depicted on tomb walls in Thebes. Beeswax candles were mentioned in Roman writing. Candlesticks dating to 3000 BC, which look similar to their modern-day counterparts, have been found in Crete. In pre-Christian times, candles in their early form were an integral part of winter solstice celebrations, bringing light to a dark time of year. As with so many pagan traditions, these customs were often integrated into Christian observances. Wax candles were in use in medieval times, but were expensive, so largely confined to palaces and churches. The art of chandlery became a gilded craft in the late Middle Ages, with chandlers travelling from house to house to collect saved cooking fat, an early recycling collection. Now in this picture is a tallow chandler in apron and sleeve protectors as he dips a rack of wicks into molten wax. In the foreground is a rack of finished candles there. This woodblock engraving is from the Book of English Trades or Library of the Useful Arts, 1821. More candles. Oh, it looks like somebody's ripped something out of that page. I wonder what it was. Maybe a recipe. Also in the 19th century, grocers and candle makers or chandlers would give their customers candles at Christmas, which were then lit to celebrate the holiday. From this time